We love you. Appreciate God for holding Trumpet down just a little bit. Just a little bit. Thank God for all of you. We appreciate God for his goodness tonight. Now, we're not going to prolong the time tonight. We're going straight into the word of God. Is that okay? The Bible said, get wisdom, and all thy getting, get a what? Get an understanding. My people are destroyed for what, little base? For the lack of knowledge. Somebody said, what you don't know won't hurt you. What you don't know will kill you. Look at your neighbor and said, stuff I don't know that mess me up. But thank God for his way and his method of giving us understanding. But tonight we're going into the word of God, and I want to take our time. Is that all right? To the book of Psalms chapter 51, and begin reading to you from verse 16. Now, David had messed up. The Bible said when it's time for kings to go out to battle, David laid up on his bed, and when they went out to battle, but he laid down, lazy. 21-day consecration, and you've been at home. But when he got up, not doing what he was supposed to do, somebody said, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. But he got up and he saw this pretty Cushite woman. Now, pretty Cushite woman. I don't know what kind of sun cream or sunblock or Vaseline she had on her, but apparently she was shining. And she was black. Cushite were black women. And he looked out and saw this woman named Bathsheba. Instead of him praying, he looked at her, and he being the king, in a place of authority. That's why I tell folks, everybody wants to be an authority, but see, authority means authority. And see, if you ain't ready for it, you mess around and done gave the wrong order. See, that's why you can't get a novice to be a leader, because he get lifted up in pride and he goes shipwreck. It takes some skill. First of all, like I was telling the brother, I said, you got to know where you've been, got to know where you're at, and then you got to know where you're going. See, you can't be just redirected by everything you see. Say amen. You have to stay focused. You have to get the eye of the tiger. Can't look to the left or to the right. You can't be evil, can't be vindictive. You can't be persuaded. You know what I mean? Some folks, they just can't control their emotions. They wear their emotions on their sleeve. But this man, David, looked at this woman, and he figured he's the king. He said, go get her, bring it to me. Listen, first of all, he asked who was she. And they said, Uriah's wife, the captain, one of the warriors. One of the warriors, he wasn't the captain, but he was one of the warriors, one of the top fighters. And David knew who this woman was. Now, this is Uriah's wife, but I'm the king, so I can have whatever I want. So he figured, now him being slick, you understand what I mean, he going to bring her on in and do what he got to do and then send her home. But now there wasn't no contraceptives. So she gets pregnant. So there wasn't no abortion clinics back then. So that was that. So he brings her in, and so now he's got to come up with a scheme. So he says, what I want you to do is, he said, I'll tell you what. He said, send out to the battle and bring Uriah. Tell Uriah to come home. Tell him to come home. Brought him up to the king's palace. Now watch, you got to listen to me. And brought him to the king's palace. This is why sin, when you start lying, one thing about lying, but if you keep lying long enough, your lie will become your truth. So you lie long enough, your lie become your truth. So you be lying so long until it become what you believe it is. There's a young boy one time, he always playing games on people and telling folks stuff, right? He always telling folks stuff, and then it don't be that. But one day, he went down, he come running back from the beach, and he said, a big old white whale done washed up ashore. But he's lying, right? And boy, folk in the city and the little town got so excited. They got their cameras and stuff together, and man, they was running, and every folk was running to the beach to see this big old white whale. You ain't no white whale, but it's a big old white whale and washed ashore. And he just laughing like, these crazy people. But all of a sudden, though, the people start coming back, and they said, man, thank you, bro. I got some of the best pictures. Man, that was the biggest. I've never seen a whale that big in my life. I mean, people were coming back, patting him on his back, and like, wow, man, I'm glad you told me about that whale, man. And he like, And I mean, folk were just coming back, just thinking about, and he like, wow. So he started running to the beach and tripped and fell and broke his collarbone and went to the hospital and caught pneumonia and he died. But he never figured out if his lie became the truth. See, he lied, but it really happened. But he died a liar. See, sometimes people don't understand what I just said. Sometimes your lie can become the truth to somebody else. It's sad when you be the lie to some folk and then you mess around, folk go to believe in your lie and you don't know the difference. You be tricked your own self. Ain't that crazy? And he running down there trying to see the lie. He told if it was such a big lie, he shouldn't have been running. So he falls and breaks his collarbone. So sometimes you keep on lying, you're going to fall and break your spiritual collarbone. Watch this. So David done messed up, done called this man back from the battle and tell him, he brought him in and got him good and drunk. He said, go home and be with your wife. But Uriah being not just a soldier, but being a warrior. Now pay attention now, we'll take our time, is that all right? See, one of the things you have to understand is that nowadays, by we being so carnal-minded, till you have to really use a lot of wisdom to get past flesh to get to the soul. People are so carnal-minded, and see, people are time-conscious, and people are just carnality, no spiritual insight. I was telling somebody the other day, folk don't have no conviction, no nothing. They don't have nothing, like if I say, well, don't put your cell phones out, and we don't need cell phones. And the reason for it, because we don't want the kids, people disrespecting the house of God. But no matter how you tell people that, they know better, but they'll do it anyhow, you understand? And folk don't have no conviction. People's lives are based on what other folk doing. Well, they got their phone. Well, you know better. I don't care what they do. Years ago, because somebody came to church with a pair of pants on, it didn't mean you had to stop wearing your dress. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, folk, you got what I'm saying? But now we live according to what we see instead of going by what the words say. Y'all listening to me? I'm going to help you tonight. Now listen. So David going to trick this man, but this man being a real warrior, he goes out on the front of porch steps of the palace and goes to sleep. So the next morning they tell David, Uriah didn't go home to be with his wife. So David called him and told him, he said, why didn't you? He said, man, listen, how can I, being a soldier and a warrior, know that my comrades are out there fighting and I'm going to be out here being with my wife? I would feel bad. You know what I mean? That wouldn't be fair to them. They're not able to be with their families, and I shouldn't feel like to be with mine. Y'all listening to me? Then I shouldn't be with mine. You got what I'm saying? So David had to come up with another lie. This is what I'm trying to show you. See, sin goes under sin. Evil men and seducers wax worse. If you don't straighten that sin out, don't think it's going to get less. It's going to get greater. And it's just like a disease. It builds up momentum and it's just going to spread like a cancer. Pretty soon it's be all over. See, first it was benign. It was something you could have cut off, but now it's malignant. It's all in the bloodstream. How many folk got sin in your bloodstream? Now watch, pay attention. I'm going to be out of your way in just a minute. I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you a revelation. There's a lot of people right now, ain't no conviction no more. Folks ain't subject to nothing. Watch. I've never seen folks that think they can jump past, like children, like they want to be saved, but they jump past their parent and get to God. Wives that just, jump past their husband and get to God. They ain't got to do nothing their husband said, just come straight to God. Church folk that just jump right past the leader. Pay attention, watch y'all. Watch these kids, y'all. I mean, I'm talking about church folk. Pay attention, watch this. I'm talking about church people right now, you understand? I mean, now jump way past the pastor and jump straight to God. I know God dealing with me. You got so many renegades and self-willed folk that don't have no pastor, no shepherd, no nothing. Do you understand? If you ain't a shepherd, you're in the danger zone. Do you know what a shepherd is for? He's for your protection. Do you understand? There was people that just walked in the door. It could have been somebody walking in with an AK-47 and see what it is. I got your back. So there's things that I can see you can't see. So everybody ain't a pastor. But you people nowadays, God spoke to me. Well, God ain't going to just tell you nothing above your leader because that's confusion. God's not the author of confusion. Say amen. Let every soul be subject to the what? Now, pay attention. I'm going to show you something. So people think they can jump past their pastor, wives can jump over their husband. I don't care what my husband say, and go straight to God. or church folk can jump right over the pastor and get to God. There's no way you can jump from, as a child, from over your parents, disobeying your parents, to God, over your husband and get to God. Because God, first of all, is the Word. So you can't jump over the Word and get to God. So if you leave Word, you done lost God. You jumping, but you ain't jumping to God. And so that's why so many people are lost and they think they got God, but you have to understand we're in an hour that God done gave the devil permission. Like I told S.C. Johnson, Apostle Johnson today, I said, folk don't know this, but it ain't no Satan the Lord rebuke you. Do you understand? If you can rebuke the devil in this hour, you got to rebuke God. Because the devil is up. We were always taught the devil fighting God. The devil ain't never fought God like he giving God a headache, man. The devil worked for my daddy. He's owned by my daddy. My daddy owns him. Do you understand? He works for my daddy. He's scared of my daddy. You believe that there's one God. If you do, you do well. The devil believes in he what? He's scared of my daddy. He works for my daddy. When my daddy asks him a question, he can't even stay in my daddy's presence long, because if he do, he'll stop lying. He has to start telling the truth, because a lie can't what? Tarry where? In his presence. Every time he come in the presence of God, he got to start telling the truth. He can't stay in God's presence long. He'll stop being a liar. That's how much reverence he had for God, right? You understand what I'm saying? So God done told the devil that he had a power that he's going to watch. Word, in the beginning was the Word was with God. You got to pay attention. See, because when people fail to love the truth, I'm going to do something to you. See, you got a bunch of folk nowadays just doing any and everything, and they proud of it. Proud of it. Just nothing, nothing. Just God speaking to me, God dealing with me. Can't nobody lead you. Can't nobody, no. No, God said, my what know my voice? My what know my voice? Don't you understand? Sheep don't be driven. Sheep have to be led. What done happen? Something that happened to our character. Y'all don't hear me what I'm saying? Something that's happened to our character. Y'all listening to me? Now. People think that they can just jump over God, but God gave the devil this permission. He said, let no man deceive you by any means. For that day of the Lord shall not come except there come a falling away first. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. I'm going to show you something. Playing with God. Got your own rules and regulations. Got your own little commandments, your little stuff that you do. You know, you got your way to get to God. I got my way to get to God. Man, listen, there ain't 1,500 different ways. There ain't but one way. Jesus said, I am the way, the what? And no man can come to the Father except he come by what? The Bible said the Word was made what? And dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory as the glory of the only begotten of the Father, full of what? So that Word is God, right? I mean, that Word is Christ. So the only way you get to God, you got to come by that Word, right? Now watch the Word. He said, let no man deceive you. I'm gonna get going today. I got just a little nugget I want to drop on you. He said, let no man deceive you by any means. You think you smart. This is some scary stuff. This is why I'll be up in the morning, at night. I look like I was praying all day. I just all day just been praying, and just I don't know what it is. It's just something's getting ready to happen. Something's getting ready to happen. I mean, it's something is wrong. And I was just praying. I said, God, please don't let me go in the error. Don't let me mislead your people. Don't let me. You understand what I'm saying? People, you understand the watch, because see, you got to watch. There's a lie. God spoke to me one day, some scary stuff, said there's a lie that can be told that only our God can tell you it's not the truth. That's some cold-blooded stuff. You could be walking in something and think you walking in the truth. Watch. God said, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day of the Lord shall not come except there come what? A falling. There's got to be a people falling away. They're not going to leave the big church building. They're not going to leave the pulpit, the choir stand. They're not going to leave their position. But they're going to walk away from that word. They're going to leave God. They're going to be a falling away first. That's the first thing. Watch. I don't care what that Bible says. I know what God spoke to me. I don't know what you're going to say. You don't care what the Bible says. You know what God spoke to you. How you going to say that when there's three that bear record in heaven, the Father, the Word, and the Holy Ghost? These three are one. So when you don't care what the Bible says, then I don't know I'll show you what you're dealing with. I'm going to show you what you're dealing with. And that's why we got all these folks speaking in tongues, but they're mean, they're nasty, they cuss, they're vindictive, they're unforgiving. I mean, just functioning in the church, operating, shouting, and speaking in tongues, just operating, but just going on. But you have to understand, see, God is smart. He'll let the wheat and the tare grow together. He'll let you keep on doing your little prophesying, little speaking in tongues, little going from place to place. He'll let you keep on doing. But see what he'll do, he'll let you wait to the end. And when you stand before him, did not we prophesy? Did not we cast out devils? Did not we do many mighty works? He said, I'm going to profess unto you. I'm not going to confess. I'm going to profess unto you. I never what? I never had a relationship with you. We were never one. If we were one, your attitude would have been different. If we were one, you wouldn't be as arrogant and proud. Can't nobody correct you. Can't nobody rebuke you. Can't nobody reprove you. If you understand what I mean? If you was one with me, you understand, you'd have been sweet. You'd have been, that's a sweet sister. That's a sweet brother. You don't hear that no more, do you? That mean rascal, that booger cantankerous, booger nasty, booger deceitful. Watch him. Hold your purse. Get your. Ain't no sweetness no more. You understand? But let no man deceive you by any means. For that day of the Lord shall not come except it come a falling away first. Now watch. You playing with something. He'll leave you speaking in tongues. He left Saul speaking in tongues. He left Saul prophesying. But he switched on him. We used to play a little game when I was in the world called the switch. And I played it with a whole bunch of stuff. I played it with drugs. I played it with TVs. I played it with. But we mostly played it with slum called jury, right? We go down to the pawn shop and we get a ring. Back then it was everybody wearing them big old clusters. And cluster diamonds back in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. And so what you do, you pay only $5 for the cluster. You see, you take the cluster and you have it in one hand. You go to the jewelry store and tell it, you got maybe two of y'all in there. You tell it, man, let me see that ring right there. Identical same ring as you got in this hand. And what happens when you get it, he don't know it, and your partner, what about, is that ring, how much is that ring? So as soon as he turned it on just that fast, I done switch, right? So now he get ready to put a $5 ring back in the case, but don't know I got that $2,000 ring in my hand. Now just that fast, I gave him what looked like what he had. I gave him what it looked like what he had. Now, whatever wisdom man got, I don't care if it's good or evil, God gave it to him. I form light, I create darkness, I make peace, I create evil. You don't know who you playing with. You're dealing with a God boy way sharper than you can imagine. He can do some stuff to you and you don't even know it's done. See, we play in church. Y'all got to listen to me. You got to listen to me. God be will switch on folk playing around, man. He'll leave you right in church for the rest of your life, and you be on your way to hell and don't know it till that day come. See, the good part about God, this is what he is. Some men's sins are open beforehand. This is the love of God, the mercy. I'll whoop you. I'll get you right the moment you do it. But then there's some of you, I'll leave you keep doing it. I'll let you keep doing it because one of the saddest part, I was trying to break it down in Gulfport, but I got kind of carried away. It's two things about the human nature that God does that can be good, but it also can be a detriment. The human nature, we're creatures of adaptation. We can adapt to any given situation. Any place we go, we can adapt and adjust and become like that situation. You know, this person say, man, I'd go lose my mind if I went to jail. Go to jail, you adapt. You'll adapt. You'll adapt. You understand? Something about you, you're a creature of adaptation. But then there's something else that's so cold. We're creatures of habit. It's a psychological fact that if you do anything more than 30 days, it becomes a what? Habit. So he'll let you keep sinning until it becomes a. He'll let you keep sinning until it becomes a habit, and then you can't stop. And he just back up from it. And ain't nothing you can do about it. Because now you done become a slave to your own vice. Creatures of habit, because evil against a sentence against an evil work. You bear with me a minute. I'm going to be out your way. I got something to drop on you. Because sentence against the evil work is not speedily executed, then evil is set in the heart of the evildoer. You keep on doing it, then it gets set. After a while, you get to the point where a delusion come upon you. You think what you're doing is right. Y'all listening? Watch. He said, let no man deceive you by any means. He said, that day of the Lord shall not come except there come a falling away first. People are going to walk away from the word, right? And then the man of sin, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or worship as God, and he as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Now, this thing is going to go in the temple of God and going to make folk think he's God. The temple ain't in Jerusalem. Point to the temple and say, no, ye not. It's your body is the temple of God. Now, what's in you? What got you speaking in tongues and cussing everybody out? What's in you? Got you shouting all over the place and can't nobody tell you nothing. What's in you? You understand this? Letting you let sweet and bitter water pop out your mouth. Don't you know? You understand? You blessing God one day, you cursing everybody and damning everybody. What's in you? What's in you got you meaner than a junkyard dog? Where's the, no, what's in you? And you hate and you full of racism. And what's in you? It's a sad part, but God being to put something inside of you and you think that it'll let you shout and speak in tongues. It'll let you even prophesy and be accurate. Read Deuteronomy 13. Read 1 Kings chapter 22. You'll see them men prophesied. They was on point. King didn't have no lying prophets around. That's why God had to send a lying spirit into the mouth of all of Ahab's prophets. Then we wasn't saved. Them sat at the table of Jezebel. God had to put a lie in their mouth because all them false prophets, they prophesying, they was on point. See, you don't know what you're playing with. You sitting around playing church, boy, you watch what God get me to do something. God going to do something in America. He's going to switch on these folks so bad. He done switched on a bunch of folks. That's why you see folk run up out the church. You'll go to work and stay at work all day, go to a beauty shop, stay all day. You come to church and just pop up just like nothing. Do you know years ago in the Church of God in Christ, we left because we left the house of God without the what? Benediction, because we needed that what? That blessing. Not no more. Folk come up in the house of God, they got cell phones, they folk talking, people setting up writing love letters and stuff. You understand? People making rendezvous, people making appointments to see one another after church, making signal. Just no reverence, no nothing. Here we go, church time. So here this man done messed up. So this was sin to do to you. I'm just lead you a little something. This man done lied. That man fooled with another man's wife. Now you can't just confess that. That's why you set up with this adultery spirit. You ain't just having sex. You done open up a door for one of the biggest liars in the world. Because you ain't going to tell nobody you with somebody's husband or with somebody's wife. That's going to be a secret. That'll be a secret you might have to take to the grave with you. And hope and pray that God can have some mercy that you find a little old Chinese because somebody out in the parking lot that you can confess to. Listen, no, don't worry, you ain't got to eat nothing. Just let me talk to you. I ain't lying to go somewhere in the Catholic church and sit in that booth to try to get that junk up off of you. You're going to have to get that straight. Unconfessed sin will take your soul to hell. Y'all listening? Watch now. So now he's set up there. Now he done got this lie, this thing in him. He's not getting it straight, but it ain't getting better, right? He's not addressing it. He's not addressing this demon. Confession is made unto salvation. He's not dealing with this demon. He's petting this demon. But the demons do not decrease, they increase. Evil men and seducers wax what? Sin does what? Abound. You got what I'm saying? It's going to get greater. See, we playing with stuff. We play with people that's in sin. We fool with folk and just get that stuff and they feed in and instead of feed that demon inside of you. Watch. So now he sets up and he figured out, now I ain't going to be able to trick this man. So he sits down and writes a letter to the captain of his host named Joab. And he said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to put Uriah in the front of the battle, in the heat of the battle. And when he gets up there and the battle gets heated up, I want all your men to withdraw from him and leave him out there by himself. Suicide. And this cold-blooded man, this is what happens when you get demons on you. Better pay attention. This happens when you get demons on you. He puts the letter and calls this man. This is a death sentence. This is what sin will do. It'll take every ounce of love and sin to eat you up on the inside. This man, no conviction, man. He gives this man a death warrant and puts his own death warrant in his hand. This man, a true soldier that gave an oath to defend you, to defend your kingdom, and you got him walking down the road with a letter to get him killed. But he goes down there and hands the letter to Uriah, and Uriah looks at it like, God, David's cold, man. But he did what David said. But Uriah needed the battle to kill him. So they got word back. Uriah was dead. What's saying it's cold, boy. David went and got that woman and married her. She got pregnant. Got her pregnant again. Got her pregnant. She was pregnant. So he married her. And watch now. I'm going to be out of your way in just a minute. Married her. Now watch this. Look at somebody and say, be sure. Your sin going to find you out. What's ever done in darkness, going to be brought to the light. Keep on playing with them homosexuals. Keep on playing with them lesbians. Keep on playing with other folk wives and husbands. And keep on playing with them. You think you're getting away? You just up there just shouting. It's 2019. Keep on playing with it. Now watch now. He's sitting up there. He the king, right? Ain't nobody saying nothing. But there's some nonconformists. God got some folk, boy, I don't care what you do. You can cut their head off. They're going to tell you the truth. They sold out, ain't bought out, ain't walked out, ain't talked out. Nathan came up to David and said, David, he said there was a poor man in this little country, and he had a little wee lamb. He loved his little wee lamb. You know, he took this little lamb, and he didn't have it in his bosom, just could, just hold, oh, my little lamb. But there was a rich man that had a whole bunch of lambs. And instead of him, he had a friend that came by to visit with him. Instead of him taking one of his lambs and killing it to give to the man, he took that man's only little wee lamb and killed it and gave it to his friend. David said, the man that done such a thing should die. Nathan looked at him and said, thou art the man. But something happened with David. David remembered prior when another king got busted. When another king got busted, he watched what happened to another king. Sometimes you learn from other folks' mistakes. He remembered when another king got busted, when Samuel said, Saul, have you obeyed God? He said, yes. I'm saying, bad. Saul, you obey God? Yeah. Moo. He said, well, what is this bleating of sheep I hear in my ear, this lowing of oxen? The people have taken it. Sacrifice. Watch this. But he watched what God did to Saul. He watched how God put a demon on Saul. So David said, this ain't going to happen to me. He didn't get nasty with Nathan, but the Bible said he fell on his knees and said, have mercy upon me, O God. See, one lied, but David said, bump that. It ain't no sense in lying to God, because the night is as day unto the Lord. The eyes of the Lord is at every place, beholding the evil and the good. So ain't no sense in lying to him, because he hates lies, because that's an insult to his intelligence for you to lie to him. That's an insult for you to lie to God. When he knows you're down sitting, you're up rising, you're coming in, when he knows your thoughts are far off. You understand? So David said, no, I know better than this. He said, have mercy upon me, O God, according to thy loving kindness, according to the multitude of thy tender mercy. Blot out, not theirs, not hers. She shouldn't have been sunbathing. She shouldn't have been, just streaking across the garden. No. But me, Lord, my sins, mine iniquities, my transgressions. My sins are ever before thee, and against thee and thee only have I done this evil. Watch this. Psalms 51 and verse 16. You ready to have some church? I'm going to be out your way in a minute. It won't take me long. Psalm 51 and verse 16. He said, for thou desirest not what? Watch, pay attention. Else I would have given to you. He said, thou delightest not in burnt offerings. He said, but the sacrifices of God are a what? Wait a minute, now look at the sacrifice of God as a broken spirit and a broken and contrite heart. O God, thou wilt not what? One scripture says, the high and the lofty one that inhabits all eternity, that made the heaven and earth, he dwells among them that have a broken spirit and a broken and contrite heart. So the sacrifices of God is a broken spirit and a broken and contrite heart. Y'all ready to have some church? To the book of Psalms, chapter 116 and verse 17. Psalms 116, verse 17. Make it verse 16. Psalms 116, verse 17. Verse 16. He said, "O Lord, truly I am thy servant. I am thy servant, and the son of thy handmaid. Thou hast loosed my bonds." Watch this next verse. "I will offer to thee the what? Wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. The sacrifice of a broken spirit and a broken and contrite heart, right? But now here's another sacrifice, a sacrifice of what? Thanksgiving. And I will call upon the name of who? The name of the Lord. You already have some church? To the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 11. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 11. We might come back to that in a minute. I'll be out your way in just a minute. It won't take but a minute. Chapter 1, verse 11. Make it verse 10. Isaiah 1 and 10. He said, "Hear the word of the Lord, ye rulers of Sodom. Give ear unto the law of our God, ye people of Gomorrah. For what purpose is the multitude of your what? Now you offer me these sacrifices unto me, saith the Lord. I'm full of burnt offerings of rams and fat of fed beasts, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks." Y'all listen to me? I delight not in the blood of bullocks and lambs and he-goats, but I'm full of sacrifice. But to the book of Jeremiah, let me do this real quick. We're going to come back to that. We're going to come back to that. Is that all right? Jeremiah chapter 33, verse 11. Make it verse 10. Jeremiah 33 and verse 10. "Thus saith the Lord, again there shall be heard in this place, which he say shall be desolate without man, without beast, even in the cities of Judah and the streets of Jerusalem that are desolate, without man, without inhabitants, without beast." Next scripture. He said, "The voice of joy and the voice of gladness and the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride and the voice of them that shall say, Praise the Lord of hosts. For the Lord is good, for his mercy endureth for what? And of them that shall bring the sacrifice of what?" So there's sacrifices of a broken spirit and a broken and contrite heart. Then there's sacrifices of thanksgiving. But now we got the sacrifice of, y'all listening? Now we got the sacrifice of praise. Y'all got that? To the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 14. But before you go there, go to Romans chapter 12, verse 1. Watch now. "I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God." Now, pay attention now. The sacrifices of God is a broken spirit and a broken and contrite heart. The sacrifices of thanksgiving, the sacrifice of praise, right? "I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living." Wait a minute. So now, a broken spirit, a broken and contrite, that's a sacrifice. Thanksgiving is a sacrifice. Your praise is a sacrifice. Now you telling me my body is a sacrifice. Y'all ready to have some church? Watch, let me show you something. To the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, and I believe it is verse 14. Hebrews 13, verse 14. Be out of your way in just a minute. A little bit of reading we're just going to do tonight. Just got to teach it, okay? Let me show you something. Just how the devil to mess your head up. Mess our head up. Verse 14. "For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one that," what? "By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of what? Praise." The sacrifice of what? Praise. Wait a minute. The sacrifice of praise. So David said, sacrifice like bullocks, and that would not. But the sacrifices of God are a broken spirit and a broken and contrite heart, in whom I will not do what? I will not despise it. That's the sacrifice. But then there's a sacrifice of thanksgiving. There's a sacrifice of praise. And then I'm going to present my body a living what? Back to the Isaiah chapter 1 and chapter 1 real quick. And let's start at verse 11. And let's read a little bit. Let me just help you. I ain't got but one more little scripture after this. Isaiah chapter 1. Let me show you something. Watch this. Isaiah 1 and verse 11. Maybe verse 10. He said, hear the word of the Lord, ye rulers of Sodom. Give the ear unto the law of our God, ye people of Gomorrah. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me? Saith the Lord, I'm full of burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fed beasts, and delight not in the blood of bullocks and the lambs and of lambs of he-goats. When you come to appear before me, who hath required this at your hand? To tread my course. Now, you all in the house with all these sacrifices, but bring no more vain oblations. I don't want no more oblations. Don't come to me with these prayers. The vain oblations and incense is an abomination unto me. The new moons and the Sabbaths and calling of assemblies, I cannot away with. I don't even want it no more. I mean, I don't care about you even coming to church. I don't even care about y'all with this Sabbath. Watch this. He said, it is iniquity. Even the solemn meeting, the solemn, the little prayer revival, the 21 days, the little solemn meeting is I don't even like that. He said, your new moon and your appointed feast my soul hates. They are trouble unto me, and I am weary to bear them. When you spread forth your hands, I will hide mine eyes from you. Yea, when you make many, what? Wait a minute now, I'm praying. I'm stretching my hands unto thee, and I'm praying to you. I'm making all of these sacrifices, but he says, I will hide my eyes from you. Yea, when you make many prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood. Y'all listening to me? Wash you. Make you clean. Put away the evil of your doings. From before mine eyes, cease to do evil. Learn to do well. Watch this. Oh, you praying. Oh, you shouting. You offering up sacrifice. You thanksgiving. You just shouting around and you speaking in tongues. You got it going on. You just, you ready. You get you tired of them alone. You understand what I mean? You just, give me 5. Give me 5. Give me 5. No. Judge the fatherless. Plead for the widow. Come now and let us reason together, saith the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. 19th. If you be willing and obedient, then you shall eat the good of the land. There's none good but what? Scientists say you are what you. But it said you get to eat of the good of the land. So ain't nothing good on here but me. So you get to eat me. Jesus said you got to drink my blood and he said, if you be willing and obedient, then you shall eat the good of the land. Next verse. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured with the sword from the mouth of the Lord. Have what? Wait a minute, why are we offering up these sacrifices? We have in church now. We shout. We got solemn assemblies. We got Sabbaths. We got people praying all night. You understand what I mean? Watch. To the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15. Sacrifices of the Lord is a broken spirit, broken contrite heart. The sacrifices of thanksgiving, the sacrifice of praise should continually be in your mouth. Presenting your body. I want your body as a living sacrifice. So, 1 Samuel 15. Go ahead with this. A little simple message. think it's a joke. You think God is just worried about your money. You think God's worried about your little, your operation and your function, your auxiliary. You think this, you think you're doing something for God. Oh, you got us food. See, man, oh, she's so diligent. Oh, he's such a worker. They used to call them willing workers, didn't they? Oh, they just so dedicated. Oh, they just love the pastor. What's now? I help you. 1 Samuel chapter 14, and begin reading to you from verse 10. 1 Samuel 15 and 10. Now God then gave Saul a command. He said, go down to the Amalekite. They didn't come up out of Egypt land. Go down to the Amalekite. See, one thing about God, God don't forget what people do to you, and he don't forget what you do to people. See, you might catch amnesia, but God don't. He'll remember the bad you done, and he's going to remember the good you done. You think you done got away. God will remember good, the stuff that folk ain't never pat you on the back, ain't never said thank you, nothing, just look like they just took it for granted. Don't even worry about that. God got that. He don't forget. I'm not forgetful of your what? Of your labors of love, which you show toward my name and toward the saints. I don't forget. But I also don't forget the stuff you do that ain't right. I'll bring it up again. I'll call it to your remembrance. But it said Saul go down to the Amalekite nation. And I remember what the Amalekite nation done to the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt land. How they laid wait. Y'all listening to me? How they laid wait to ambush them. And I told them don't even fool with them, but they just going to get them, just for nothing. He said, I'll tell you what you do. I want you to go down there. And I want you to kill man, woman, child, suckling. I want you to kill the baby that's breastfeeding. I want you to kill the cows. I want you to kill the horses. I want you to kill the sheep. I want to kill everything. The camel, the asses, kill everything that has a spirit around them. Kill it. Don't leave nothing alive. Pay attention. Saul gets the men, numbers the men, and they go down. And he said, don't leave nothing alive. But when they get down in there, Saul, you understand, weak back leader, gets down there, and they looked at all of the goodly sheep. And they looked at all the sheep that was manged and matted up and foul, and they killed all of them. And then they took all the goodling of the flock and kept them. And I told you, see, you don't understand, if you mean, this is the truth, if you mean, I done seen people, and I got to listen to me now, you're going to have to hear this. Because you understand, people playing with something they don't know what they're playing with. Your spirit can get on your dog. There's some folks' dogs start looking like them. I know people, their dogs look just like them. There's some dogs that's racist. It's God's knows truth, man. The spirit of that person can get on the dog. The spirit that came out the man with legions went where? They can go in an animal. You can hug that animal, you understand, and pick the spirit up of that person. So kill the animal. I don't want to leave their spirit nowhere in the land. Kill them all. But Saul goes down there and disobeys God. Keep the goodly of the flock. And then see what I tell you about sin? And I told you what to do, right? I told you, right? But you're going to start disobeying. Now, don't say stupid man. He spares the king. You can take a beehive and kill all the bees. But if you don't kill the queen bee, the drone, you can kill 1,000,000 bees, but if you don't kill that drone, within a week, it'll be almost another 1,000,000. Because that drone is what produces. So you're going to keep the king? The bloodline is in the man. So it's customary when you bring a king into your establishment that you give him a handmaiden. So that night that King Agag was with him, Saul gave him one of the maidens. So you didn't kill all the Amalekites, but you spared the king, the drone, the seed. So he sowed his seed in that kingdom that night. So, but watch now, you can fool some of the people some of the time. You fool a few people a few times, but you can't fool God. No time. So God spoke to Samuel and said, it repented me that I ever made Saul king over Israel. For he has sinned against me and gone back the way that I told him not to do and disobeyed. He said, I rejected him. And he said, I want you to go down. I'm going to raise up another man after my own heart. Go down to the house of Jesse, and I want you to anoint David, one of Jesse's sons, to be king. I've rented the kingdom. I've given Saul two chances. I told him to wait the last time. He's going to take things, matters in his own hand. He's of the tribe of Benjamin. He's not a Levite. He's going to offer up sacrifices. You understand? Forced himself. I gave him a chance. I'm trying to give him another chance. But every time I asked him what he done, instead of him coming clean, he tell a lie. Why did you offer up the sacrifice? The people. Watch. So here he come now. Watch. So when Samuel coming to meet Saul, the Bible said Samuel asked where Saul was. They said he's going up and down through the city, parading. He done built him a monument. He done come back from the battle of the Amalekites. He got the people food, and they having parades like they done won the Super Bowl. Watch, I'm going to show you now. You better listen to me. They coming back like they didn't have the Super Bowl. The food, the folk just rejoicing. Everybody just parading. You understand? But Samuel looked at Saul and watch. See, when you're wrong, you got to start lying from the jump. Ain't nobody said nothing. Sometimes I just like, Mama, I ain't did nothing. No, ain't nobody asked you, did you do nothing? But you done did. What you done? What you talking about you ain't did? Ain't nobody asked you nothing. What you talking about? Y'all remember that? Mama, I ain't did nothing. What, ain't nobody asked you nothing about what you did? Now I know you done did something. Watch. So here, blessed be the Lord, Samuel. I've obeyed God. Moo. He said, Saul, if you obey God, what is this bleating of sheep and the lowing of oxen that I hear in my ear? Now watch. Here we go. He said, what is this bleating of sheep and this lowing of oxen that I hear in my ear? But instead of Saul coming clean, instead of Saul coming clean, watch this here. 10th verse said, then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, it repented me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he has turned back from following me and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel that he cried unto the Lord all night. There's some folk going to be trying to pray for you. The Lord spoke to me and said some folk going to be doing some stuff, and stuff going to happen to him. And he said, you're not going to be able to help them. There won't be a prayer line. There won't be a prayer cloth. There won't be a bottle of oil that's going to help them. He said, there's some sins that's under death, and I would not that you pray for it. Yeah, some folk ain't going to be able to get no help, but I'm talking they're going to get to the point of no return. They're playing with God. See, this kind of church like this kind of word right here, this opens a door. And remember, anytime your preacher preaching a word and your flesh is comfortable, your preacher ain't preaching a word, because the word and flesh don't never agree. Don't never. That's why folks say they picking on me. He throwing off on me, because your flesh don't never agree with the word. Fact about it, they hate one another. Your flesh hate God. God hates your flesh. The Bible said your carnal mind is an enmity against God. It's not subject to the law of God. They that are in the flesh cannot what God? He ain't pleased with carnal-minded folk. He don't like that. So when you preach that word coming as a sword. It's coming to kill it. When you come to a church like this, you ought to want to come to the butcher shop to get that body of death that's been causing you hell, that's been causing you to get your heart broken, causing you to make the same mistake over and over and make a fool out of you, got you sick as a dog. You ought to want to bring it somewhere and kill this thing for me, because I'm tired of it killing me. I'm tired of it killing people that I love. I'm tired of wrecking and destroying my church. I want you to get rid of. Paul said, oh, wretched man am I, who shall deliver me from this what? Body of death. There's no good thing that dwells within me. That is within my what? So you ought to come to church and let me want to help you kill this thing. Nah, you want somebody to pat it. You want to keep it alive. But it repented me that I've set Saul to be king. So he prayed all night long. Next verse quickly. And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul then came from Carmel, and behold, he set up a place and going about, passed on, gone down, parading up and down to Gilgal. Y'all don't hear me what I'm saying. Gilgal means flowing. He just rolling, y'all. Next verse quickly. And Samuel came to Saul And look at Saul. Saul said, blessed be thou of the Lord. I have performed the commandment of the Lord. Ain't nobody asked you nothing. Conscience bothering. Here we go. Watch this, church folk. Next verse. And Samuel said, what meaneth this bleating of sheep in mine ears and lowing of oxen which I hear? What is all this? Now watch. Now this man got an opportunity to come clean. Next verse. And Saul said, they have brought them from the Amalekites. For the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to do what? Wait a minute, watch that. Remember that word. Sacrifices of the Lord, of a broken spirit and broken contrite. Sacrifices of thanksgiving, the sacrifice of praise. Present your body a living sacrifice. To sacrifice unto the Lord thy God, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. Watch this, next verse. Samuel said to Saul, stay, and I will tell thee what the Lord hath said to me this day. The little smart booger, watch it. And he said unto him, what? No, you don't want me to say. You understand? No. You ought to be having for mercy. Say on. No, partner. It's sad when you're wrong and you're cocky. It's sad when you're wrong and you're arrogant. It's sad, we used to have conviction. We used to have remorse, I'm sorry. And we stand before the church. Y'all forgive me. I'm just so sorry. We cried. Even if we got rebuked, we just sat there, we had remorse. If a bowl, you can tell somebody stuff down the boogers to jump up, walk out the church like, who you talking to. You can do that. I better watch this. Say on. Say on. Here we go. Next verse. Samuel said, when thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? And the Lord anointed thee king over Israel. Next verse. And the Lord sent thee on a journey and said, go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Next verse. Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord? Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord? But didst fly upon the spoil, and didst evil in the sight of the Lord. Watch this. Now here we go. And Saul said unto Samuel, yea, what? Is you out your cotton picking mind? See, this is when that thing get on you. This is when it get on you. You busted, but you yet determined to keep that lie going. Watch God. And Saul said unto Samuel, yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and I have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought back Agag, the king of the Amalekite, and utterly destroyed the Amalek. Is you deluged? I'm giving you a chance. Next verse. But the people took, here we go. But the people took the spoil, the sheep and the oxen, and the chief things which they should have utterly, what? You knew what should have been done. You knew what should have happened, which should have utterly been destroyed. To do what? Wait a minute. God loves sacrifice. Broken spirit, broken and contrite heart. Thanksgiving, praise, present your body a living sacrifice. He said, and have destroyed them to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God. And where? Watch the next verse. Samuel said, hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and what? Notice it didn't say sacrifice, it said sacrifices. As in a what? As in obeying the voice of the Lord. To obey is better than any sacrifice of praise, thanksgiving. I don't care how many tears you set up and cry and you weep on that altar. I don't care how many prayer meetings you attend. I don't care nothing about it if you don't get up off your knees and obey me. I don't care nothing about your praise. I don't care what you talk about, you praising under pressure. I don't care nothing about it. If you praise me and disobey me. I don't care nothing about your solemn assemblies, all your prayers and all the stuff that you didn't praise. You understand? All the little sacrifices you call yourself making, riding up and down the highway, and the sacrifices that I sacrificed, and I gave God 10% of my paycheck when my bills went through, and I had to sacrifice. That don't mean nothing. If you sacrifice and don't obey God, if you don't listen to my voice when I speak to you, have the Lord great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices and obeying the voice of the Lord. Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice. To hearken than the fat of what? I don't care nothing about what you're doing. It don't make no difference how you did on the opposite. I don't care how you play. I don't care how much we get corns and calluses on our hands and stuff playing. I don't care how many cramps we get. You understand me? If you can play that, get that bass and play them keyboards and go right out and disobey God and go against what God done told you, then all of this don't mean nothing. Because what God wants is obedience. Everybody right now, everybody want to prophesy, are you obedient? Everybody want to be a wonder. Everybody want to be a star. Are you obedient? Everybody want to build. Everybody want you understand? We want to get another church, but if we get a church, are we obedient? You just sit up there and pay your tithes and sacrifice. Are you obedient? Are you humble? Are you doing what I tell you to do? You're humbling yourself. Are you obedient? Are you doing what I tell you to do? Are you loving your wives? Are you obeying your husbands? Are you obeying your pastors? Are you doing what I say? Are you obeying me? When them folk on the job are fighting, are you obedient to me? I don't care nothing about you running in the bathroom crying. Are you obeying me, overcoming evil with good? Rendering good for evil. When they lying on you. I don't care how you shout around here, but you set up there mean and vindictive. When I told you to overcome evil with good. When I told you to bless and curse not. I care nothing about your sacrifice. I care nothing about your broken spirit and your crying and sobbing. You run to the altar service after service and jump right back up. Screaming, hollering, snot going everywhere. I care nothing about that. I hate that. I hate that. I want when you get up off your knees, I want the obedience. I don't care nothing about them solemn assemblies. You know what I want? I want the willing and obedient spirit. I want that willing and obedient spirit, which is of great price. I want that. You understand? I want your obedience. That's the sacrifice of God. I don't care nothing about that. I want you, come let us reason. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be white as snow. They be red as crimson. They shall be as wool. You understand what I mean? Come, let's talk about it. You understand? If you be willing and obedient, then you get to eat of the good of the land. I don't care nothing about that. I know your heart. See, you render your garment, but your heart, you're not rendering your heart. You honor me with your lips and with your mouths. I got you. You think you can fool me. You folks saying around all the sacrifices. She's such a good worker and he's such a faithful. Listen, on the down low, you full of the devil. Mean. Go home, beat your wife, cuss your husband out. Treat your mama and them like a dog. You're gonna steal, kill, lie, cheat. But you come to church, you shout all around, talk about folk like a dog. Are you obedient? Are you submissive? Are you humble? Are you subject? Have you obeyed me? Have you put up the thing? But there's stuff before me. I'm on the back burner. You don't care nothing about me. You'll work overtime, triple time, part time, and then come to church like you to give me some time. Like that's a sacrifice. That ain't nothing to me. I want all your heart, your mind, your body, your soul. Your sacrifice don't mean nothing to me if you don't obey me. Sacrifice don't mean nothing. Sacrifice don't mean nothing. I don't care if you go home and cook that man a meal, give him the best intimate love you could give him. I don't care if you iron his clothes, wash his clothes. If you don't obey him, if you don't obey him, All them old sacrifices is nothing. Because I told you what to do. How many folk right now, how many sacrifices you making that just going null and void? Obedience is better than sacrifice. Obedience. Some of us will pay our tithes, but we pay our tithes the way we want to pay our tithes. He didn't tell you to pay your tithes here and pay your tithes at another church. He told you what to do. You understand what I mean? He said, obey you and have rule over you. You understand? McCoy ain't telling you, McCoy don't be fooling with folk. I don't bother folk. I told you a 21-day consecration. I know some of you work, and I know some of you not able to be here, but you should have took that time, and you should have got at 7 o'clock, 6:30 time. You should have pulled over in a corner somewhere. Just the obedience. Just the obedience is what saves people. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just the obedience. We making all of these sacrifices, crying, brokenness, and all of this praise, and all of this worship, and God is looking at your disobedient heart every single time. Look what he's saying. Next verse. You don't even know what you done did, do you? Rebellion. You think you got to go down to New Orleans and find a two-headed prophet, right? You think you got to go somewhere and find a juju bag or a doll. You think you got to conjure up some magic potion. No. No, you got all these sacrifices. You just came back offering up all of these bullocks and lambs unto me. You just walked around the city giving God praise for the victory he had gave you. You just been walking around. You got the folk, everybody praising God and thanking God for the victory. But you disobeyed God. You done disobeyed God. You done disobeyed God. Now guess what? I'm not only going to put you in a delusion, I'm going to put a spirit on you. You reigned for 40 years, for 40 years. But only 2 years you reigned with anointing. 38 years you reigned with a spirit of delusion. But you reigned over a people. And the people you reigned over, it's the leaders of my people that caused them to error. They was just in error, much error as he was. Because he disobeyed God. They steady giving sacrifices and don't know they out of pocket with God. Disobedient. Disobedient. I want you to think about the junk we disobedient right now. He's searching you. He's searching us. We can preach, we can set up and prophesy, we can set up and do all of this stuff. How many of us right now, this ain't one of them messages, this Susie, this it. God's coming to the wire. He's landing to the wire. The Bible said if righteous scarcely make it in, where shall the sinner and the ungodly appear? Many are called, but few are chosen. See, you sitting around, you playing, but see, you got to understand, man, look on the outward appearance. Everybody getting good up. Man, thank God, brother. He just don't faith. Thank God. I'm talking about every time I see him. They just giving, they're just sweet as they can be, but see, God's seeing your heart. He's seeing that evil in you. He's seeing that perversion in you. He's seeing that connivery in you. He see that wickedness. He see that witchcraft in you. Rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Let me show you what rebellion is. Rebellion is disobedience with an attitude. You got an attitude about your rebellion. You don't care what nobody say. You're going to do what you're going to do. That's why can't nobody tell you nothing. You don't even understand that witch spirit is on you. See, that's what was on Jezebel. See, that witch spirit. See, Jezebel's spirit just don't come on no women. That's a spirit. That comes upon men. See, that spirit comes upon men. You understand what I mean? Just self-will. Ahab couldn't tell her nothing. Couldn't tell her nothing. She despised authority. Y'all going to hear me in a minute. I said, you're going to hear me in a minute. See, all this disobedience that we doing, all these little sacrifices we making. But is your heart right? See, God going to judge you according to the deeds of your heart. Your heart going to be an open book before God. All this stuff we done fooled everybody preaching the long robes and crosses around our neck and all these little long prayers and long prophecies and stuff. God gonna deal with you. Are you sweet for real? Are you loving and honest for real? Do you really love people for real? Are you really right for real? Are you lying? Are you making believe? You understand what I mean? Do you really love him for real? But this thing don't just come on you. This gets on your kids. This ain't gonna get on your kids, son. This thing you done set up there and you done gave a sacrifice. You done offered up stuff. You done offered up strange fire. You coming home, you got a parade, you understand? You disobeyed me. You disobeyed me. You brought a demon in the house. You understand? He that rendereth evil for good, I'm giving you good, you give me evil, then evil shall not depart out of your house. You got a child in your house that loves me. You got a child in your house that prays. You got a child in your house that got discernment. You better hear me. You got a child in your house that got the spirit of revelation upon him. You got a child in your house named Jonathan that have a gift of prophecy on him. Because what is on you, this innocent child, when I get ready to kill you, I'm going to kill that innocent child. See, anointed folk got to die with a bunch of folk that got that disobedience on them. Anointed people, people that love God, see, you group around them, you get connected around them. They loving God, but see, you disobedient. Can't nobody tell you nothing. It's all right. I'm gonna kill that boy. When God let the judgment come up on Saul's house, guess who died in that? And David had to say, how art the mighty fallen? How did they fall? It don't take but one to fall. And everybody in the house, a domino effect. Because of your disobedience. I told you, Achan. I told you, Achan. I told you when you come in, watch. When you go over in the land of promise, the first city is Jericho. First city is Jericho. I want you to give me this city. This is a walled city. This is a treasure city. You've been in bondage for 400 years. This city has everything that you have ever imagined, you ever dreamed of is in this city. But this city is going to be your test. See, it's kind of like your tithes. I'm going to give you some money. But I'm going to see if you can give me mine first. He said, this city is mine. I'm going to test you with this city. He said, don't touch the silver nor the gold. This is my city. Because, see, I'm going to give you a land, but if you can't show me you can give me the first fruit, then I know. Remember, it's a land that eats up the inhabitants thereof. So if you don't have no control, if you don't have control enough to obey me going in, then it's going to get you when you get in there. You don't obey me, I'm going to get you. See, you think you're getting away. You think, boy, you got us food. You got us food. You got us food. You can't fool life. You can't fool God. You can't fool life. He said, don't touch it. They've been whooping everything, killing everything. Nothing stood before them because God was with them. But the Bible said when they went in, Achan, one man, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, went in, a Benjamin, went in, took of the accursed thing, stole it, hid it amongst himself, and dissembled. The word dissembled means he hid it and lied about it. Like, ain't nothing wrong with me. Ain't nothing wrong with me. And you lying about it. How much kind of stuff we got inside of we lying about? You watch. God done let some demons out, boy. Man, brother had a dream. He said the folk was running up in the hospital bed and they was demon possessed and they were fighting. And the doctors were working on the patient and the patient was violent and stuff. And all of a sudden, one of the doctors turned and socked and hit another doctor in the mouth. And the whole emergency room turned into chaos because the spirit that was up on the person came in there and started jumping. You ain't got the Holy Ghost now. They jumping. They jumping. They got right from G-O-D. And ain't no Satan the Lord rebuke them. If you don't obey God and stay in that word for his divine protection, they jumping. They jumping. These kids, babies, this royal family over here got a baby, they want to raise them a neutral gender. They don't want the baby to be a male or female. So the child got to grow up, come up like confused, like I don't even know what it is. So he got to put on like this man had on a tuxedo up here, but he had a dress on down here. He had a tuxedo on up here, y'all see? but he had a dress down here. So he half man and half woman. It's jumping. You thought you'd be sitting in your prayer, stuff be running across your mind. You better have God, I'm telling you. But it said, don't touch it. Let me get you out of here. Don't touch it. Don't bother nothing. But this man took of the accursed thing. Watch. Hid it amongst his stuff. And lied about it. Walking around like he ain't took nothing. But there was a little old country called Ai. And Joshua said, we can take it. It ain't that very many people. Just send a few men up there. But they went up there. God always was with them. Went up there, that little old group of folk turned against Israel, went to kill them, killed 21 people. They ran and ran for their lives. And Joshua, when they come back running, Joshua sat up there and rent his garments and put ashes on it and fell on the ground and said, Lord God, you done brought us out for the enemy to overtake us. You understand what I'm saying? When they hear this stuff there and environment us around and about, they'll kill us, man. But he said, no, get up. No sacrifice. No sacrifice. I don't want no prayer. I don't want no cry. Get up. I do not want a sacrifice. Take the sackcloth off. Take the sackcloth off. Go and get you the best meal you want. And forget the fasting. Get that sacrifice. Forget it. I don't want no sacrifice. Take it off. Put the sack up. Put your clothes back on. Get the dust off your head before you crying out unto me. He said, Israel has taken, one man has taken of the accursed thing and have cursed the whole camp of Israel. He said, until you get the accursed thing out from among you, I will no longer be with you. Some of us, we setting up making sacrifices and don't have a drop of God with us. Scared, tormented. We got stuff to call ourselves protecting ourselves. Don't have no protection of God no more. Old lady years ago, Church of God in Christ, they used to shut in on all this is true. Back home in Denver, Colorado. And where the church was, it's a little area of cold blood, like a real cutthroat there called 5 Points. And in order for her to get home, she had to walk through the 5 Points. All these hustlers and gangsters and drug addicts. About 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, because everybody left and they told her to lock the church, and she walking down the street. And she's walking down the street about 5 o'clock in the morning. A man stopped, middle of the street, rolled down and said, hey, lady, hey. She just kept walking. He said, you heard me. She just kept walking. She said, God, you didn't be with me, Lord. You heard what I said. Hey. She heard the car stop. She heard the doors open. She heard the doors close. And she started hearing footsteps come behind her. And she said, God, you know my heart. God, please, God, you told me you would be with me, Jesus. It's true. Old Church of God in Christ, mother. Walked down, this man walked behind. She heard the footsteps. And all of a sudden, the footsteps stopped. And she was walking. And God said, stop and turn around. She turned around. And the man was doing like that. Man was doing like that. Man ran and jumped in the car. God, let the woman disappear. God let that woman disappear. God made that woman invisible in the eyes of that man. Scared that man something crazy. That man jumped in that car and sped off. These were when people were praying. These were when people had God. These were when people had the anointing. These were when people were obeying God. That's when they were obeying God. That's when they obeyed God. They was in church. They nobody just jump up and walk out on God. So many folk ain't walking out going to no work. Their spirits be on folk that won't let them be still. Their spirits get on people. Folk obey God. We be sitting in them benches and mama and them wouldn't leave. We be there 12:30 at night and we thinking we getting ready to be dismissed. You done got that pew itch. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Them wooden pews that have you itching and you want to scratch. You know, you don't want to scratch, but you want to scratch. And I mean, like pins and needles just sticking you, right? And that 12, and people say, all right, you know this. They stand up and we getting ready to dismiss. Man, all of a sudden somebody come and look. Oh, I don't want to be sick. Oh, here we go now. We got Terry 2 more hours. How many of y'all remember that? Like that. Oh, man, no, man. Mama and them didn't leave nowhere. Them folk would be sitting up in that chair calling on Jesus. They don't do that no more. There's no more obedience no more. We got all the sacrifices. But get the accursed thing, and if you don't get it, I'll never be with you. Some of us right now, we can't fight a common cold. Can't fight depression. Can I tell you something? If I was to tell you all that I went through today, you wouldn't believe it by the way I'm talking to you right now. But you don't expect me to be sad and be angry and grieved, do you? Why don't you? I'm like you. Why don't you? Because I wake up in the morning telling you, help me. I can't help myself. Please, God, help me to obey you. Please help me to obey you for the people's sake. Help me to obey you that I don't mislead them. Help me to obey you that I don't speak unadvisedly. Help me, Lord, that I don't mislead them. Let me lead by precept and example, Lord. Help me to walk upright. I got up today, I went out and I was something I wanted to do, and I got out and it just frustrated me so bad because I couldn't remember what I needed to do. And I was so depressed because I couldn't remember what I went out to do. I knew I had to do something. It was just so much, and I turned around and just came back in the house. Went back home. And I said, God, you just want me, I guess you want me to just I sat there in my prayer chair and I just went to cry. And I said, God, whatever it is, Lord, let me obey you, Lord. Please don't let me miss you. Don't let me squander this second chance you've given me. Please, God, I don't care. The sacrifice of the morning prayer don't mean nothing if I don't obey you after I finish praying. All of the giving, the tent revivals, all of the nights and the strenuous sweating and the nerves and the fibers and everything that I'm giving, it don't mean nothing if I don't obey. How many times you done preach and got finished preaching and went and commit adultery? How many times you done sung and got finished singing and went and did something you had no business doing? But we gave a sacrifice. We sang till we sweated. We preached till like the church was in a frenzy. Oh, we shouted all up in here. Oh, man, till folk had to fan us and leave right out. Get that thing out from among you. If you don't get it out, I'll never be with you again. I don't care the sacrifice you've made. It don't take but one to not make the sacrifice. Everybody got to suffer. You're making all kinds of sacrifices in your house. But is there something in you right now that's flat out just disobeying God? Is there something in you right now that's deceptive? Is there something in you right now that's evil, that's hateful, conniving? But everybody see you working. I don't care nothing about your sacrifice of praise. I don't care nothing about your sacrifice of giving. I don't care nothing about your sacrifice of thanksgiving. I don't care nothing about your sacrifice of a broken spirit and a broken and contrite heart. I don't care nothing about you presenting your body as a sacrifice if you cannot obey me. And it's sad how the Pharisees, as much as they walked in that word, but they were disobedient. Disobedient. No mercy. No judgment. I'm telling God tonight, don't let all these 40-something years that I done set up here and sacrifice. I sacrificed money out of my children's mouth. I sacrificed things that I could have had to give back to you, to the kingdom, Lord. I sacrificed sick, riding up and down the highway, sacrificed hurting, sacrificed my pain and my grief and all of this stuff. You don't expect me to be. I sacrificed all of this in this one little old something in my life that you don't see. could wipe all of that away. It's all right. I'm through. Man, look on the outward appearance. It's the message here. We got some stuff in us. I'm searching you. I don't just see they looking at the outward appearance. They looking at us teach. They looking at us preach. Oh, we got all the accolades and how we preach. We get texts. We get pats on the back. Oh, they love the way you sing. They love the way you play. But see, God knows when you're doing right. See, this is the hour right now. You see this message I'm preaching right now? You think this is a joke, right? He's saying this tonight, so you're going to be without excuse. We set up in the church, and we'll go right in them hell holes and go right back down them holes and go right back places we know we ain't got no business going. And then pick up all kind of demons, pick up all kind of spirits. Go do stuff. Get sick as a dog. Then won't stand in line to get prayer. You know why your head hurting. You know why you got a fever. You know why your back is hurting. You know why you can't prosper. You know why things ain't working for you. You know why if it ain't one thing, it's another. You know why. And then you get prayer and this, and now you say you got blame in the bed. Man, I just don't know if God, I be praying and ain't nothing happening. It ain't going to happen until you get rid of the curse thing. You got some disobedience in you. Ain't no prayer going to be able to get that off. You're not going to get nothing until you get that thing off. It's got to come off. And if you can't get it off, you ask him, like I do every day. I cannot help myself. Please help me to get this out of me. Help me to get it off of me. Go down deep inside, disconnect, cut the ties. Cut these little tentacles off of me. These little octopus demons that's connected and all intertwined in my soul and around my organs. Cut the root, cut it off, please. Get it out of me. Get it out of me before I walk in time bomb just ticking and you wait like he do most preachers and he wait till they get in the zenith of their ministry to the place where they're on top of the world and they leave it there and then all of a sudden he wait till you get there and let it explode. Because God's just like the devil, just in the negative. I said the devil just like God in the negative. God don't just set up and do one thing. He could have got Jesus off the cross. That would have been one thing. He could have got Joseph out of the dungeon. That would have been one thing. But he waited because he don't do one thing. He do everything at one time. Satan will do everything. He'll wait till you get right there. And I'm going to hit you because you thought you got away. I'm going to make sure that this have a rippling effect. I want you to get more people connected to you. I want you to have more babies. I want you to have more grandchildren. I want you to have more friends. I want your church to get bigger. I want you to get one of the mega ministries. I want you to do it. Look at what he's doing to them. Then they got to stand before the congregation and say, I've been a homosexual for 27 years. I got to stand before the congregation. I've been drinking. Then they let them get up there, and then all of a sudden, this big mega church, and all of a sudden, then you hear get on the news and say, we found him in a hotel overdosed on drugs. Found a big mega church, and all of a sudden, that all of these people, and we hit it, that he was caught down in Skid Row with a prostitute. Ticking time bomb. It's all right. You're sacrificing. You're making television broadcasts. You're making radio broadcasts. Darryl McCoy, you send up, putting up tents. You're going up and down them airplanes. You're making sacrifices. Every time you go up in the air, it could be a do or die. And you coming down, but you got something when you go up, you got something in you. They don't know it. They looking at all, oh, he's just making such a sacrifice. Oh, he's just making, but am I right? I care nothing about your sacrifice. Stand on your feet. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. We got some evil stuff we doing. We got some stuff we doing. Oh, they see, you got us fooled. You got church folk fooled. But he bringing judgment, and judgment beginning at that. You know what judgment means? Homemongers and adulterers, God gonna judge. You know what judge mean? I've been going to court since I was 9 years old. They got this lady in the courtroom called Justice. She got these balances in her hand. And what it does, this is what these balances do. They put the charges on one end, and they put the testimony on the other. And what justice do after they hear the testimonies and they hear the accusers, then they weigh it and make a what? A judgment. Homemongers and adulterers, I'm going to judge you. Judgment must first begin. I'm going to see your heart. Because there may be some stuff you're doing on the outside, but on the inside you cry. Please don't. But then there's something you clean up on the outside and doing everything on the inside. I got you. Just hope and pray you don't leave us like that. Hope and pray he'll convict us. Hope and pray that we can fall under conviction tonight. Hope and pray that with these little nasty, evil spirit, it's all right. This ain't for everybody. It's not going to convict. My sheep know my voice. See, if you're seeing this selfish, if you thought about, if he'd have thought about his child, if David would have thought about his children, this man sinned. He said, because you've done this, the sword shall not depart from your house. 30-something odd thousands of years later, they in war right now. Why are we deploying ships over there? To keep Iran from bombing Israel. Because some man had all kinds of sacrifices, but he had a little disobedience in his heart. What's in your heart? It's all right. What's in your heart? What got me where I can't go forward? What got me where I can't prosper? Then he'll let you prosper. He'll let you prosper. He'll let you prosper, but he'll let that junk trick you. There's this sore evil under the sun. See, the church world preaching prosperity is God. I was a drug dealer. Some folks be bragging about they have money, but I tell you, I've had some money in my life. But I had cars, houses, but did that mean God was with me? There's a sore evil under the sun. It's the man to whom God will give riches, wealth, and honor. So much so, till he won't want nothing for his soul. I'll give you so much that you won't want nothing from God. I'll make you think that you have it all. I'll give you something you'll stop praying. I'll make you think that all your questions are answered. I'll make you think that all your problems are solved. I'll give you something in the natural and send leanness to your soul. You don't play with me. Somebody here tonight, we got some disobedience in us, and we're making sacrifices. You're making sacrifices to drive for miles. You're making sacrifices to give your tithes, your offerings. You're making sacrifices to get up and sing when your throat is sore. And you're making sacrifices to stand when your body's aching. You're making sacrifices. But it's the small foxes that spoil the vine. It's the little leaven. It leaveneth. Oh no. What is it in me today that can cause me and my whole house to be a curse after all the sacrifices that I'm making? See, I don't care nothing about your solemn assembly. I don't care nothing about your prayers. I don't care nothing about your little broken spirit if you're not going to come clean with me. This is what's going to get you to heaven. Confession is made unto salvation. If a man regard his iniquity, here we are. If I regard iniquity, I know I got this thing in me, in my heart. When you run to this altar with all that crying, he said, your prayers, I hate your prayers. Your prayers are an abomination to me. You know, lying, whatever you can call it. You're going to come to me crying and weeping, but you don't want to deal with this. You hiding this. Some of us don't even want to fast and pray because we know what answer God going to give us about that situation. That man that's in your house, it ain't your husband. That woman you dealing with, it ain't your wife. You took that man's wife, boy. See that baby she pregnant with? I'm going to show you what kind of God I am. I'm going to kill that baby. The baby ain't done nothing. The baby ain't done nothing. And I don't care how you cry. I'm going to kill the child. Killed that baby. But he didn't just kill his baby. He brought that spirit in the house. Boy, he had his own children sought to kill him. That's why I'm telling God, I done messed up enough, God, tonight. Let me start afresh. If you're in this building tonight, you might want to walk away. Maybe you're allowed to leave, but I tell you what, I'm not coming here playing. I want this lust. I want this pride. I want this jealousy. I want this envy. I want this arguing spirit. I want this conniving spirit. I want this sorcery, alcoholic, drug addicted spirit. I want this mean, vindictive demon. I want it off of me. I want this perverted spirit off of me. I don't want something to keep getting on my kids. You better cry out to God if you don't want to cry. I tell you what, you got to get it off. You sacrificing on these instruments. You sacrificing in these pulpits. You're sacrificing on the usher board. You're sacrificing on the pastor's aid, the hospitality. You're sacrificing in his kitchen. You're sacrificing with these children. But you got some stuff in your heart, and see, it's easy. Because as soon as you get around somebody that's out of pocket with me, so you easily persuaded. You can change on me at the drop of a hat. You better cry out to God, because the Bible said only the pure in heart shall see him. Only the pure in heart, you better cry out to him tonight. You better call upon God tonight. This ain't a time to walk out on God. This ain't a time. This is a time that you need to cry out to God and say, Lord, help me. Help me before I destroy somebody connected to me, Lord. God, get this rebellious spirit off of me. There's some stuff you done told me to stop doing, Lord. God, on the outside, I got to think through. I got the people food, God. But on the inside, God, you done search me, Lord. You told me the night is as day unto you, Lord. Today I'm coming to you, Jesus. I'm coming to you with my whole heart, Jesus. Lord, right now, Lord, I don't want to be prophesying to others and I myself be a castaway, Jesus. I don't want to be like the Levite, Lord, in Ezekiel 44. I done helped everybody else get saved, but I myself can't even go into the holy place. I got to bear my iniquity, Lord. I got to bear this demon, Lord, I'm playing with, Lord. I'm singing everybody else happy, but I got to bear this demon, Lord. I done preached everybody free, but I got to bear this iniquity, Lord. God, right now, Lord, please, Lord, I done taught everybody free, Lord. I done opened up the prison doors for them to go out, but I can't even come out, Lord. Break the chains of disobedience off of me, Lord. Get this rebellious witchcraft demon off of me, Lord. God, people don't know they're half obeying you, but half obedience is whole disobedience, Lord. When Ananias and Sapphira broke part of it, God, they should have not broke nothing at all, but God, breaking part of it, Lord, was a disrespect and a dishonor to you, Lord. Oh, God, you brought judgment. You killed him and his wife, Lord. And somebody somewhere suffered because they lost a mom and a dad at the same time, Lord. Oh, God, tonight, Lord, take this disobedient spirit off of me, Lord. God, there's things that you told me to do, God. I got the people on the outside, Lord, they're looking at the holiness on the outside, then there's sacrifices, Lord. But they don't see, Lord, that little thing you have told me not to do, Lord. You told me simple disobedience is send a man to hell, Lord. Just something simple. You told that man, don't go back the way that he came. Just simple disobedience. Don't eat that tree. Just simple disobedience, Jesus. Just something simple. Leave the people alone. Don't go ask them for no money. Don't ask them for a dime. Don't ask them for nothing. Just simple disobedience caused the servant to be cursed with leprosy, him and his children. Oh, just disobedient. You done took of the accursed thing. I tell you to leave it alone. But on the outside, outside your head, everybody fool you, but God sees your heart, and they find you a cursed thing and burnt him, killed him, and burnt him and his whole family. Lord, God, don't let my disobedience cause my children to die like a fool, innocent babies, and baby died, Lord. God, Lord, so Jonathan saved, loving you, died. God says somebody's wrong, disobedience. God, tonight, Lord, God, you want obedience better than sacrifice, Lord. You don't care nothing about it. You don't care nothing about the sacrifice. You want obedience, Lord. Get this demon of disobedience off of me, Lord. You said if I be willing in obedience, I get to eat of the good of the land. But if I'm a bad, Lord, the judgment's coming, Lord. God, tonight, Lord, please put that obedience spirit. Let me obey you, Lord, down to the most minute detail. You said don't look at it. Don't set no wicked thing before my eyes. You told me, Lord, to abstain from all appearance of evil. I should be going to bed with this naked women or naked men. I should be going nowhere feeding this demon, Lord. But I'm disobeying you. I'm feeding this evil, Lord. God, and saying it ain't no harm. God, today, Lord. Oh, God, today, Lord. Put a cry back in the people, Lord. Put a cry, Lord. Shine the light in the heaven, Lord. If you find anything that shouldn't be, Lord, take it out, God. God, don't let me free the people, Lord. God, if I got the people free, they won't even be praying for me to get delivered. Because they think I'm like Aaron. They think I'm already delivered, but I'm walking around a dead man walking. They saw the leprosy in Miriam, Lord, but they didn't see what you did to Aaron. And when people don't see things, they don't pray about it, Lord. Oh, God, but tonight, Lord, God, if everybody pray for me, Lord, I pray and get this disobedient spirit up off of me, Lord. Get this witchcraft spirit, Lord. It's summons and demons and bring them in my house. Put it on my kids, on my grandbabies, Lord. It's causing me to bring them. Preach and get on the people, Lord. God, tonight, get it off, Lord. Oh, God, you don't want the sacrifice of praise tonight. You don't want the sacrifice of thanksgiving, Lord. You don't even want my body if it's not holy, Lord. Oh, God, tonight, you don't even want to walk in a contract spirit. If I'm not willing to turn loose my disobedience, if I'm not willing to turn loose the rebellious spirit on the inside, if I'm not willing to turn loose the hidden iniquity, Lord, that hidden principle of disobedience, Lord, get it out, get it out. God, I can't even fight a battle, Lord. Oh, God, you used to stand for me, but tonight I can't even fight a common cold. God, you told me, God, that I don't get the accursed thing out, Lord, I'll never be able to stand before my enemy. I can't win living in sin. Get it out, God. Get this old disobedience out. Get it out, get it out. I'm half obeying you. I'm half obeying you. I'm half obeying you. Oh, the man from Judah, God, he half obeyed you. When he went back to where he came, you killed him, Lord. You killed the prophet, Lord, because he half obeyed you, Lord. God, Saul half obeyed you. God, Jesus. You told me to love my enemy, Lord. You told me to do good to them that hate me, Lord. You no matter what they've done to me, Lord. You told me to forgive, Lord, but I stand praying to forgive that I may be forgiven, Lord. I'm saying, Lord, people seeing me singing, they seeing me usher, they seeing me men in black, but they don't see the though. They don't see that unforgiveness in my heart. They don't see that rebellious spirit, Lord. They don't see the bitterness tonight. God, tonight, God, please, sing better water can proceed under the same fountain. Cry out to him. Cry out to them, please. Cry out tonight, may be your last night. I'm not talking about your last night coming to church. I'm not talking about your last night preaching in the pulpit. I'm not talking about your last night playing on your instrument, singing your song, ushering the usher boy. This may be your last night to be able to connect with God. God's going to cause it. Time is getting to stop for somebody. He that is filthy going to be filthy still. He that is unrighteous going to be unrighteous still. God, don't let me get a lockdown. Don't let the spirit habit come upon me because I think I done got away. God, I think I done got away, Lord. I might have got by, but I'm not going to get away, Lord. God, get this demon out. Root it up. Get the tentacles of these demons, Lord. Round
lodged all around my organs, Lord. Lodged all around my soul. Break it, Lord. Lord, lay the axe to the root of the tree. Get this demon off of me, the spirit of rebellion. I can't be subject to my mama. Can't be subject to my husband. Can't be subject, Lord. Oh, God, to you, Lord. God, I can't be subject to the leader, Lord. Get this demon up off of me. I did. God, I'm identifying it tonight, Lord. Every time I look at man, I'm walking out the church with an attitude. Get it out! Get it out, Jesus! Get it out, Lord! Every time I look around and sit around with vindictive thoughts, Lord, treating people like a dog, no matter what they've done to me, Lord. Get it out, God. There's a law. There's a law. You're going to reap what you sow. Get it out. Get it out. It don't just come on you. It's going to come on everything connected to you from generation to generation. Cry out tonight. Root it up. Root it out. Root it up. Root it out, God. God, go deep inside of me. Get this rebellious spirit off of me. Get it all. Get it all. I'm making outside sacrifices. But on the inside, I got stuff I ain't trying to lose. Get it out, Jesus. Get it out, Jesus. Get this hand spirit off of me. Get this Ananias and Sapphira demon off of me. Get this prophet of Judah spirit up off of me, Lord. Get this Saul demon up off of me, Lord. Get this spirit of Achan up off of me, Lord. Get this demon up off of me, Lord. Get this demon of Achan, this Pharisee spirit, Lord. Get it up off of me on the outside. I'm not quite as hypocrisy, but on the inside, I'm full of dead men's bones, Lord. I'm full of wickedness and ravening, Lord. Oh, God, if you can follow some of these people home, Lord. Disobedience, Lord. And burn with it, God. I don't care what the preacher say. I don't care what the word say. This is the way I am. Yes, you better cry to God. You better cry to God. Get this spirit of pride. Get this spirit of rebellion. Get this demon of adultery. Get this perversion. God, help me to stop feeding. 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 Help me to stop feeding this demon. Help me to stop feeding Jesus. And I'm going to feed it, man. And man, I'm going to feed it on it. And Paul, I'm going to feed it. And Claus is going to feed it. And Nicholas going to feed it. If they ain't going to do the right thing, Facebook going to feed it. YouTube going to feed it. You better cry to God with your whole heart. You better call upon him tonight. You're making sacrifices to go from one country, one city, one state to another state. You said it was stuff in your heart. God see you, man. God see you, woman. You can't hide. You can't hide with the show you go. The truth of the presence of the Almighty God. Oh, that's why people have diseases. They can't get healed. That's why people have torments. They can't get delivered tonight, Lord. I'm calling upon you. I gotta get delivered, Lord. I don't know what it is, Lord. There's something in me, Lord. Because the prison of this world is coming. And I want you to find that in me, Lord. I want your investment in me, Lord. Clean me, purify me, sanctify me, Lord. Do me like you did Isaiah. Send an angel, Lord. Send an angel to put the hot coals on the altar of my mouth, Lord. Please me with cleanness, Lord. Deliver my soul, Lord. Put that cry back in, Lord. Put that holy again. Let the spirit of obedience be upon you. Put the spirit of fear of the Lord back upon you, Lord. Let the spirit of holiness be in my life, Lord. God, tonight, Lord. Let it go, Lord. Let the spirit of righteousness help me, Lord. Give me strength, Lord. Put that real cry. Take that lying demon. Take that concealing spirit. Get it off. Don't let me cover my sin. You say if I do, I can't prosper. God, tonight, my life is an open book. Get it out. Get the lust. Get the fornication. Get the job. God, get it out. Get the lies. Get it out. Get the lust. Get the pride. Get it out. God in heaven, I've obeyed you, Lord. And I never
all of these sacrifices, you said obedience is better than sacrifice. All these sacrifices of praise I've been giving you, all these sacrifices, thanksgiving, all these days I've been on this altar crying, Jesus, Lord, Jesus. Brokenness, Lord, and I get up, Lord, and want to address this disobedience, Lord. I want to address this spot in my life. I want to address this pet sin. Jesus, please, Jesus. Get it off, Jesus. Get it off, Jesus. I can't help myself. Get it off, Jesus. Get it out of me, Jesus. Please get it out of me. God, don't let my babies, Lord, don't let my grandbabies, Lord, don't let my children, Lord, have to suffer for my sin. Jesus, don't let me bring that thing home. Jesus, don't let me bring it home. Jesus. Don't let my church, Lord, have to suffer, Lord, behind me, Lord, playing with you, trying to hide something, Lord. Saul hid something, Lord, and this whole congregation suffered for 40 years, Jesus, 40 years, and then they had to get killed when David came in. They were so messed up that they had to have men to kill them, Jesus. They were so contaminated, Jesus. God, you had David go in and kill them, Jesus. God, I pray, Lord, it don't take but one, Lord, mess up everything, Jesus. God, don't let me trouble the ship, Lord. Jonah paid the price, made a sacrifice to go down to Joppa, made a sacrifice to pay the fare to get on the ship, made a sacrifice to go into the bottom of the ship in the midst of a storm. I didn't know Jesus. All the sacrifice he made, you brought judgment on him for disobeying you. You told him what to do. You told him where to go, Jesus. God, me, Lord. God, the man suffered behind one man's disobedience, Jesus. One man's disobedience, simple. Don't eat, don't eat, don't eat, don't eat, don't eat, don't eat, don't eat. Lord, I'm asking you for a miracle tonight. I pray your blessings upon your people, Lord, whether they hear me or not. I did what you told me to do. God, I don't want to make no more sacrifices and don't obey. Because none of the sacrifices count if I'm not going to be obedient. All of the solemn assembly, all of the prayers, all of the thanksgiving, all of the praise, all of the giving you my body, if I'm not going to be obedient, it don't mean nothing. So I give my body to be burned and give all my goods to feed the poor and have not charity, your love, it profit me nothing. Stand on your feet all over this building with your heads bowed and your eyes closed. I'm through. All over this building. All over this building. Heads bowed. Heads bowed. It's sad how people are. You don't want to pray. I told y'all just Sunday. I told y'all Sunday. How many were here Sunday? I told y'all them tornadoes gonna drop. How God gonna let them tornadoes drop like at night and stuff. 19 tornadoes. 19 tornadoes in one day. Hit some of them people. They said some of them people didn't have a chance. Some of them people didn't even have a chance. You don't want to pray right now, and I know it. But God know how to induce your labor. You watch these young folk, he gonna induce your labor. He gonna induce your labor. He gonna make it, if you don't want to cry, he gonna make you scream. He know how to make you scream. In one of my churches, I told you this, I saw people come to the front of the church just screaming. And usually when somebody come to the front of the church and they scream, it's usually because it's a funeral. But see, this wasn't no not like old people. It wasn't like old people. See, people are playing with God. This is the hour, man. God is bringing judgment. You don't understand. God raised this man up, and he's using this man to bring open judgment to this nation. Don't you know if it had been any other president, they'd have killed him? If it had been any other president, they'd have killed him. They can't kill him. God spoke to me and said he won't. He said, when I get finished, I'm going to kill him, but they can't touch him. All of the stuff that they know he's done, it's something that about him that they can't do nothing about it. He does whatever he wants to do. He done set up there, you don't know the damage. He got us in a trade war with a country that does 70% of all your stuff. Shoes are going up. Oh, do you know how many percentage of your tennis shoes and your clothes, all of your parts for your cars? The auto industry is getting ready to collapse. Do you understand? Do you understand we dealing with a nation that have marked the allies? Our allies, our friends, that they don't like us. Our allies are jumping ship. They join in hand with communist countries. They preparing the United States Army right now. They had to intercept a Russian plane earlier today. Right here, right in the United States. Fooling with Alaska. Right here in the United States. They had to intercept a Russian fighter jet. They coming. You don't want to pray, do you, young folk? I had this vision, and then you don't have to believe nothing but McCoy say, how many believe God speaks to me? Raise your hand. I don't believe he speaks to me. I don't know God speaks to me. I ain't got the impression, you don't see me prophesying all over the place, but if I tell you something that God spoke to me, sometimes he speaks to me in part. He won't tell me the whole thing. He'll just show me something, like a piece of it. And then sometimes he'll let me see the whole thing. But I saw this vision, not a dream. And I saw planes flying over America, dropping bombs. And I saw the people in America, because it's never happened here. Mother Holloman, they couldn't even run. They were so terrified that they couldn't even run. I saw such a demonic spirit of fear on this nation. I told you there will be people that will be dying, not from sickness, not from gunshots. They're gonna be dying. They're gonna go up in their houses and find them in there dead. You know why? They're gonna be scared to go out and buy food. Starve to death. You don't believe that, do you? When I set up and prophesied and told you all that stuff that was gonna happen, down in Katrina, all that stuff, I set up there in Georgia, up under that tent. PTL was going strong. I prophesied, and I told them, I said, PTL coming down. I said, man, they fought me. They got on the radio, called me a hater. I said, I saw PTL come down and not rise again. I sat there on that ground. They had that DuPont plant, that bomb plant. Folk worshiped that thing. They had everything. They got their own hospital. They had their own banks. They had everything on there. Folk worshiped that. Folk making $100 an hour and all kind of stuff. I prophesied and I told them, I said, they're going to close the plant down. And I saw people committing suicide. They laughed at me. They laughed at me. They got on the radio. They told me that I was a hater, that I was fighting Jim Baker. But I did not back up from the prophecy. Did it happen? They set up there, a nuclear reactor cracked at that DuPont plant. Folk was catching radiation diseases and all kind of sicknesses. They had to shut DuPont down. That big old plant ain't never just got it back up and running again. Them folk was blowing their brains out, had all them big mortgage notes. killing themselves. Prophesied, and I told you, when that man come up against him down in Baton Rouge, I prophesied, and I told him he'll reap what he sowed. I said, as he spoke on him, he'll fall also. And people thought I was fighting him. I wasn't fighting him. I love this preacher. This only preacher used to make me cry. I used to sit up in the motel room, watch this preacher on television, and that man would be preaching. I'd just break down and cry. But he fought a man. He fought a man with disobedience in his heart. He fought a man. He making sacrifices. When I would go overseas, when I would be in Europe, he was the biggest thing in Europe. Every television station in Europe, he was the biggest thing around the world. They caught him over and right in a little hole right down in Baton Rouge. And see, people over in Europe, they're very pompous. They ain't like America. The moment it happened, they took him off of every television station it was, instantly. Instantly. Because he had outside sacrifice. And we was praising the sacrifice. But we didn't know the disobedience. I love you today. You can go back to your seats. We're going to let you go. Try to help you. It's all right.